My name is Barat. I'm the coordinator of the Russell Tribunal in Palestine in London. I've been involved sort of in the background or in a minor role with Palestine Place, and to be honest, it's my first time here today, and this is amazing. This is just even it goes higher than what I expected when we talked about it like a few weeks ago, and I couldn't see the place yet, but now I can see the place. Like tonight there was a really great talk with 40 people, like really interactive, and I think that's what Palestine Place is about. People talking together, people exchanging ideas, and it's about bringing people together, and it works fantastically well. And Palestine's Place is sort of a snapshot of, I think, what the movement has become now, and it's a snapshot of the way Palestine has been internationalized and globalized in the last few years. I think at a very rapid pace now. You see people from all backgrounds, from all ethnicity, from sexual orientation, political backgrounds, coming in together, and people that were maybe involved in the anti-war movement, in the environmental movement, they're now coming together to talk about Palestine, and to talk about Palestine as really something global that affects us all in our daily lives, wherever we live. So Palestine Place is amazing, is very timely, and I think people should join us, should come here at 24 Gray's Inn Road in London, because there's so much more that's going to happen in the next few days. Palestine Place is going to close in about a week and a few days now, and it's really something we should cherish and celebrate, and hopefully will happen in many more cities around the world. Tribunal in Palestine, as I mentioned, was created in 2009. We talked about it from 2007. We had one session in Barcelona focusing on EU complicity, because once again the tribunal is about, the subtitle of the tribunal is third-party complicity, because we thought if Israel is the bank robber, and that, everyone sort of agrees that it is, at least in this room, who provides who provide the weapons, who provides the car, to make them drive away from the bank, who provide the cover, who provide the support, and it's as important as what Israel is doing, because Israel couldn't do what it does without US financial support, and also without EU diplomatic support, and international body support, and again what Daniel mentioned with the police going around their own laws to make sure a general wasn't arrested. So it was crucial for us to start from the point that Israel is guilty, and that's why we've been accused of being a kangaroo court, and saying, there's no people defending Israel, and we've said from the start, Israel is guilty. We're not going to go over 100 of UN resolutions that have been violated. We're not going to go over reports from Amnesty, etc. Israel has been proved guilty many times in the last 60 years or more now. So we are focusing on the helpers, the enablers, and that are most of the time not only passively complicit but actively complicit in Israel's crimes. So we've had one session about EU complicity, one session about corporate complicity, and it's very important because, and also for the BDS movement, because it gives, we hope that the tribunal gives the legal tool that as a movement we do need. Israel is calling this now lawfare. So on one side you've got Israel lobbying governments trying to change the law. Barat recently said that the laws of war should be changed or something, and so they're not only saying it, they're really, as Daniel mentioned, lobbying governments, lobbying the EU, lobbying EU Commission and Parliament to try to change those laws, the laws of war, the laws of aggression. They're trying to do this, and they call it lawfare. So that's their side of the lawfare. What we're doing is more powerful, because we're not trying to change the law, we're using the law to attack them. But and they're very, that's an aspect of the movement that maybe they didn't think enough about, and activists have done a great job throughout the years, but now I think with the legal argument you see more and more activists mentioning human rights report, the Goldstone report, and the ICJ, so the World Court opinion, and that scares Israel, because it gives us, the way that we educating ourselves on the legal side of things does really scare Israel, and you can see that it's trying to change the law even in Israel, the boycott law, the funding for human rights organization law, etc. So they're very scared of this, because when you touch the law is something that actually they've written. So the powerful, the states, they've written the law. So if you attack them on something that they have created, it's very hard for them to say, no, we don't agree with this. They've written it. So it's crucial for us to have this sort of even basic concept about what the law is and how the law stands. It's our final session actually. We'll have it in New York, focusing on. We'll go back to the root of the conflict, focusing on the UN, because the UN, actually there was Balfour before the UN, but anyway, the UN with the partition plan in 1947 is one of the key actors and key and guilty party in what's happening now in Palestine. So we'll focus on the UN, we'll focus on the US, very important role obviously in Palestine, and we'll also focus on, and that's what Ilan Pape, who will speak here on Friday, keeps talking about, reframing the conflict and using a new dictionary. We have to, and it's very hard even for us because we've been hearing this. The Israel-Palestine conflict. We need to stop this. Stop using this term of conflict, the Israel-Palestine conflict. And you use it. I use it all the time because it's been in your head so much for that so many times the last 10 years or whatever. So you can't use the word conflict because it's not a conflict. A conflict implies that there's two equal sides, that people are fighting from different rights, and it's not a conflict, and that we should not use this as a conflict. And that's why in the US, and that's one of Daniel's very important input, we will focus on settler colonialism, because what's happening in Palestine, it's Zionism, but Zionism is a settler colonial project. I don't know if you know the difference between a colonial project and a settler colonial project. It's quite simple. A colonial project, you think of, there's a sort of a corporate idea behind this. France would say, let's go to Africa because they've got cotton and they've got very cheap labor. So they go for, let's say, material purposes and profit purposes. A settler project is about reclaiming the land. They don't care, that's why they don't want any Palestinians. And they don't care about Palestinian workforce. They don't really care about the trees. That's the land. So that's the settler part of the colonial project is like reclaiming the land. And what's happening in Palestine is a settler colonial project, and it's Zionism. And we should use those words because we will use them for any other conflicts. That's also something we will focus on in South Africa, trying to really change our vocabulary when it comes to Palestine. Because if you talk to a novice, someone that doesn't know anything about Israel-Palestine, words are very important. And if you say, if your first term is Israel-Palestine conflict, it is in their brain. Conflict could be a boxing match, could be a football match, could be, but it's not a conflict. We need to make clear that there's no two equal sides, and actually the Palestinians have used violence in the past. Some of them are still using violence now, but it's because they were there, and people came to their land. And I'll use violence if someone came to my house trying to break in and say it's my house. So we have to, to put the balance back where it should be, and there's no balance actually. That the Palestinians live there, and there's a settler movement that came to the land, and that they have the right to take their arms if they want to defend themselves. Yeah. One thing we can't forget, and I said this last time, it's very important. We can't forget that things have changed in the past, and they've changed thanks to us. When you talk to, again, novice or apolitical people, say, "Oh, what, you want a revolution? You're real. We can't have a revolution. That's over. So get a car and something and do your free Palestine stuff, but don't try to, to go further." But they're wrong because we live in such a short. We've learned to think of history of this really short-term thing. We're thinking like 10 years ago. But change, like radical change, takes centuries and many years. And the important thing is, and that's again why I disagree so much with Wittgenstein when he says I'm not pragmatic, but he is. He said we have to be pragmatic. We have to fight for something that the public opinion will understand. And I'm sorry, I don't understand this concept. You either fight for something you believe in, and for me, let's say a two-state solution, one end Palestinian suffering. So I'm not going to fight for two-state solution. I'd rather die with Palestine still being oppressed, or Palestine civilly occupied, than actually fight for something I really don't believe in, you know. And I'm talking about Palestine, it's the same for what the world is now, you know. And so I think we should really think about what are we fighting for, and please, we can't be pragmatic. You know, we can't say global public opinion accepts a two-state solution and accept that not all refugees we can return, and so let's fight for this, and one day we'll get to this and we'll be victorious. We won't be victorious, and we'll have failed our own logic, our own ethics, our own moral. So let's fight for something we believe in.